Welcome back, everybody. Cappuccino's behind the scene here of another episode of Roger That Chronicles. Hey, listen, if you like what you see here, go to that old pocket computer you got there, YouTube, 216 Creator Studios. Like, share, subscribe. Ding that bell for the future notifications. I do believe we actually have everything little packed up in a nice package of playlists for you. So feel free to go backwards in time as well and see some of these great shows, especially Roger That Chronicles. Cris, so we got through the holidays.
We made it.
We're here. We got a couple of other great guests sitting here at the table today. I'm really excited about today's episode. And, one of the major things that we're really proud of is your organization. I'm going to let you listen, we got to get paid here, right? So we're going to let you talk about the great special magic that you do in your Harry Potter world. And then I think Austin's going to do a little VPH for us.
That's right.
Awesome. So here's the ball and go.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Cris Boston here, CEO of Veterans Network Association. We empower and equip veterans as they are transitioning from the military with the skills and support needed to live healthy, purposeful, and successful lives. I started this organization because my son, he went through his transition and it was a challenge. And so we wanted to encourage other veterans as they are going through that transition to let them know that they're not alone. So our mission is simple, to save lives, get them connected with one another, with other veterans in the community, with their families, support, and give them activities to do to bring healing. So basically, that's all.
You guys,
that's all.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's much there, right? You're a great resource center for anybody that needs to come back into the world of today, right? There's a lot of training and programming that goes on when you go out and protect our country. And so what do you do when you come home? A lot of people get lost and they don't know what to do. They think they're happy. I'm going to go get that cheeseburger. I've been dying. That's what they think of. And then they get back and then time goes by and they're like, what's happening? Right. That's when you get a hold of Cris Boston and you go, hey, listen, she's going to point you to other resources as well as help you get established. And, new programming comes into play. It's time to build that life and move forward. Right. You guys do a great job of that. I'm really proud of that.
Thank you. Thank you. And so today, I guess I'm going to do a quick introduction. We've got two Army brats here. So we've got Dave Lano, an Army veteran, and we've got Austin May, an Army captain. And Austin is actually going to do our little commercial for BPH because Josh is
Little Veterans Path to Hope.
Take it away.
The mic's yours, sir.
It's all good.
So Veterans Path to Hope in Crystal Lake, Illinois is here to support those who served and the families who stand beside them. They offer confidential counseling, peer support, and mental health services tailored specifically for veterans. From help with PTSD and trauma to assistance navigating benefits, housing resources, and community connections, Veterans Path to Hope is focused on real solutions and real healing. If you or a veteran needs support, guidance, or just someone who understands, Veterans Path to Hope is ready to help, because no veteran should have to walk their journey alone. Some of the services offered include confidential counseling for veterans and their families, PTSD and trauma-informed mental health support, peer-to-peer veteran support groups, suicide prevention and crisis intervention, assistance navigating VA benefits and services, housing and employment resource referrals, and at the end of it all, community connection and advocacy. It's a lot, but it's crucial.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thanks, Austin.
And thank you guys both for obviously serving and for joining us on the podcast today. So usually I just start off with some basic questions like, why did you go into the Army? Why didn't you pick the Marine Corps? No, just kidding. So really, I'll go ahead and start with you, Dave. Why tell me about that story of why you decided to join and how you decided your branch.
Yeah.
And what'd you do?
Yeah. So I was that kid that played guns in the Army and dressed up with all the neighborhood kids, and made a lot of bad decisions as a kid. I was kicked out of high school a few times, and the last time I was kicked out, my parents shipped me off to military school. So that was my first taste of drill sergeants and having structure in a way where you only did what you were told to do. And I needed that. I needed that at that age because the decisions in the path, the decisions I was making in the path that I was on. I graduated military school in 97 and I tried a community college, just school wasn't for me. And I went to Army Recruiter Center in Schaumburg, saw Sergeant Atkins, and within a month I was gone. So
wow,
I
that's
joined quick. I walked in, I said, I want to go and I want to go fast. So before I could change my mind, at 19 years old. Yeah. But I knew it was something that I needed. And I would just figure it out as I went. So I joined, and my MOS is 13 Delta Field Artillery. And I did my boot camp in Lawton, Oklahoma, Fort Sill, with Marines. And I got a taste for that style. Didn't understand it, but I fell in suit with the rest of, the trash talk. But it was a great experience. After boot camp, I went to Fort Carson, and that's where I was stationed. So next to Peterson Air Force Base. And I'll say this.
in Fort Sill.
Yeah, yes. Tornado Alley is what they called that. And it was hot. But I was during 9/11. I was never deployed. We were in Trinidad, New Mexico, doing field training, basically in the desert for 90 days at a time, shooting rounds and living wartime scenarios. And back in back then, you couldn't take your phone to the field. And our commander called us all in a group and told us we had been attacked. That was 9/11. And we just thought it was another wartime scenario. We didn't think anything of it. And it's when they said, if you have any family that worked in the World Trade Center or the Pentagon, come forward and we'll let you use our phone and you can call your family. And that's when it was like, it was real. We were under attack. And we got shipped back to base. And at Fort Carson, there's 21 gates to get on. They shut them all down, barricaded them. And there was one main gate. And I was on gate guard with my unit for almost a year, just searching vehicles coming in.
Wow.
And I ended up getting out in October before the stop loss in 2002. My unit was deployed in November. So I literally missed it by a month. Something I have mixed feelings about because my friends, my brothers went, and a few didn't.
Right.
It's a hard thing to go to, and it's a hard thing to miss on both sides.
Yeah, it is. But I love this country. I love the opportunity to serve, and it's good to be here.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for sharing, Austin.
So I came about into Uncle Sam's Army a very different way. So after college, I joined the Peace Corps, which makes it even funnier that I didn't join the Marine Corps. That would have been better, I think. But after 2 years in the Peace Corps, I had gotten a taste for, when we're doing it right, U.S. foreign policy and the impact that we as Americans can have for the betterment of the world at large. So I had to ask myself, State Department or military? Ultimately, I went with the DOD. And so, walking into a recruiter's office and saying, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but here I am. Let's just go. And looked at the Air Force, looked at the Marine Corps, looked at the Army. Ultimately, I went with the Army because it is the largest branch. It has the most just opportunities of things to do and experience and grow. So went with the Army and came in as a 90 Alpha quartermaster officer and did rail logistics for a few years, and then had a deployment, but peacetime deployments to Kuwait during 2023. And while I was there, we had the October 7th attack in Israel and Gaza. And then after that, then I became a civil affairs officer, so 38 Alpha, and I've been that since. So now I am a captain and a reservist up in Wisconsin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cool.
thank you as well
Yeah,
for
thank you.
serving. It's so amazing just sitting here listening to these different stories because everybody has such a different
Everyone has
background and
one.
experience.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the great unifiers about the military, not just the Army, although we're the best, but we are, this crosscut in this microcosm of American culture, American society. Like, you meet people that you wouldn't have the chance to in any other industry or community. I think it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, all with the same goal.
Yeah.
You know,
largest
with the
networking group in the world, really. It's you're building relationships with all different styles, types, creeds, diversity. And it's true brotherhood, brother and sisterhood, I should say. And I think that, there's a lot of positive. When I was signing up for U.S. Navy, okay, never went. I was promised something that was never given, and they were like, well, what did your recruiter say? Okay. It was one of those, right? So I was like, I'm too Italian to go. But my father's like, you need to go. I'm like, probably, but I'm not gonna. I do think that some people need to go. They need that structure. They don't know how to. We have enough people in this world that go to college and do certain things, but to learn logistics, hands-on, dealing with people, real life situations, right? The good, the bad, the ugly. And yes, there is good. It's not all bad and ugly. We talk about the triggering effect. There's always bad and ugly, but there's also good. And we talked about it, I think, in the green room a little bit. Struggling is an education in itself. How you strengthen yourself for discipline is key. You can either, if you can't raise your discipline, then you got to lessen your desire. Otherwise, you just keep falling, I think, right?
Yeah.
And I think that military really kind of gives you that baseline. How to take pride in who you are. Is that gig line straight? What does your rack look like? Question for you guys, do you still do that? Like, even in today's society that you're here now, do you still, see how you dress, how you make your bed, how you live your life organized? Do you not? You laugh. Probably
my
not.
drill sergeant would be ashamed of how I make my bed. It's
you and me
not
both.
perfect triangle anymore.
You're both looking at me like, please don't bring this up.
No, but it stays with you forever.
It does.
Absolutely
Yeah.
spot on.
Yeah.
And, for better or for worse, it stays with you forever. Now, among the veteran and military community, the mental health crisis is doubled or tripled what it is among, the wider American society. And there's a reason for that. But at the same time, yeah, there are, both the financial and experiential benefits, and also just I survived this. Hell, I can survive anything.
Correct.
That's right.
I think another struggle, though, is when you're you have this teamwork. You're one unit and you have your goal, you have your mission, and you succeed at it. And so I want to ask, what was one of your favorite teams, or your favorite leader, or, something along those lines? But also, when you get out, it's you don't have that team anymore. So it's such a weird dynamic to have such a close, tight-knit team and then not.
Yeah, because you come home and you try and find that, or you try and build that around your life. And I mean,
because only other veterans can understand that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and listen, when you come home and you get that job, right, there's a team thing there, but it's not
Kind
the
of.
same ish, right? Everybody's still out for themselves, but you're working with a true team. You know who's got your six. Your team does, right?
It's
the
it's
real
a
world, it's
work
different.
friend versus a battle buddy.
Boom.
It's an
Yeah.
entirely
Yeah.
different dynamic.
Yeah.
It can't be replaced.
No, I agree.
So share a story about one of your
Favorite team.
Or a mentor. That
Yeah,
brought you to the
actually,
next
a
level.
bit of both.
Yeah.
So, my first unit, again, we were rail logistics. We were actually based not far from here, out of Great Lakes, North Chicago, and coming in as a butter bar, a second lieutenant who knows nothing, but at least is humble enough to admit that he knows nothing. I was slotted as basically a platoon leader over a bunch of rail engineers and 40-year-old, 50-year-old sergeants who'd been around forever. And my sergeant first class, my battle buddy for this platoon, like, he taught me everything. And, shout out to Sergeant Talavera, absolute phenomenal NCO soldier person. But the team, there's that idea of stronger together, of a team is a chain, and one link breaks, the whole chain breaks. Yeah. We together could shore up each other's weaknesses. They could teach me so much that I did not know about rail, about logistics, about soldiering. And I could show them how to write a really nice email. One is more useful than the other, but I contributed.
It's a trade-off.
It is.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like every job is important, and you need all of them to make the whole.
True.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. So being in field artillery, there were a lot of components that had to come together in the field so that we dropped our rounds in the impact zone correctly. At Fort Carson, there was a lot of civilian casualties at the time I was in because rounds during practice were not, they didn't go where they were supposed to go. So Sergeant Lewis, I'd have to give a shout out to. I wonder if he's still alive. This guy was a 2-pack a day smoker, Marlboro Reds, but could run 20 miles. And when he was done, he'd light a cigarette, break the filter off, and smoke it. We're like, how do you do that? But the guy, he always had his cigarette hanging from his lip. He was a Southern boy. But one thing I took away from him is nobody's an individual. When I was in, it was Army of One. I know they've changed it over the years. But an Army of One was you were all one. And like, if you disagreed, well, you just didn't disagree. Right. And
accurate.
You just didn't go there.
I drove a 577, so that was my job. And every time I stopped the 577, I'd have to set up the 20-foot antenna, and we ran all the coordinates to the gun bunnies. That was 13 Bravo, 13 Charlie. And I didn't do my job right one day. And, that could be life or death for a lot of men in my unit. So my Sergeant Lewis came to me and he's like, listen, you need to run this key. And he just pulled a key out of his pocket. And he's like, you need to run this over to a different area. And this is the key to the impact zone, and tell them that. And I was new, so I didn't know. I should have known the impact zone is where you drop the round. And these are big howitzer rounds, right? They create a lot of damage. And so when you walk 20 feet from your vehicle, or it was them, you had to wear your Kevlar, your gas mask, like you had to be completely suited up. And this is this is in Trinidad, New Mexico. It is hot. And he had me go maybe 4 or 5 miles. And I got to the other unit and I handed the key to the sergeant. And like, Sergeant Lewis told me to bring you this key to the impact zone. And it was probably the toughest smoke I ever got. They dropped me and smoked me in full uniform. I was a laughing stock, but it was the point. It was the point that he was teaching me that, I mean, this is life or death. This is a big deal. And I took a lot away from that. And I would say that it changed the short time I was in, it changed my viewpoint on everything, that it wasn't about me. It was about the guy next to me and the guy in front of me and the guy behind me. And I had orders to follow, even in my, youth and rebellion and trying to stand out. There's no standing out in the Army or in the military, I think. So that changed the course of the next couple of years for me. I didn't make that mistake ever again.
With your,
I think that's so true. It's like
Great
sometimes we're
story.
in those situations and then it's like you're just like really put on the spot for things and it makes you think,
Yeah.
you know. Sometimes those are like the hardest lessons, but they're the best lessons to learn, you know.
Coming from that, youthful rebellion, as you put it, how did that feel, coming into the uniform and there was one way to do things and it's the man in front, the man behind?
I embraced it. I knew that I needed it because without that stability, direction, and I mean, this is just what you're going to do, or else consequences could be fatal. I embraced it, and I knew I needed that structure, and I didn't fight it too much after that. That situation, I saw there was a much greater purpose than myself.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
A much greater purpose.
yeah.
And there had to have been like a level of respect too at that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was
Maybe still learning.
So I just didn't know, fast forward 23 years, I'm now 45 years old, so I could put it into words better. But, back then I knew it, right? I knew it. But I don't know, I was probably still very foolish in my speech, but I got the point he was getting across. But yeah, it changed the trajectory for me. It made a difference.
Wow. So what was a challenging thing because that seems like that was a pretty big challenge to lesson to learn, but there's
It was.
different challenges that you have while you're serving. So what would be another challenge?
Another challenge. You have to learn in real time. And you have to ask questions. And I asked a lot of questions. So I wasn't good at maps. I think I barely made it through AIT. Advanced Individual Training is what comes after boot camp. So AIT prepares you for your MOS, your job, and that's schooling. With lots of push-ups and running, and drill sergeant still yelling down
your fitness.
Yeah. Question again. I'm sorry.
Challenge.
Getting through AIT and then
Yeah. So I didn't ask enough questions in AIT. So I would say that, and I didn't in school, and I had issues in school for that reason, because I didn't want the attention. But you have to ask questions. You got to know your job. You got to know what you're counting on and how people are counting on you. So when I got to the field, because when we were in training, we were always in the field, and we'd go for 60, 90 days at a time. You're eating MREs, you're pulling sand out of your, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only place it counts.
And I had to learn in real time, but it wasn't in a classroom anymore. It was on the battlefield, so to speak. It was something.
Yeah, that's true. Because there is no skating by if you don't get it.
No.
Wow.
Some things you can't just fake it to me.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Well, we have a special word for that. It's shamming. Specialists are famous for it. There's the E4 mafia for a reason, where they just disappear. And
when you want a Walmart solution, right?
A Walmart solution.
Right. When you want a Walmart solution,
Yeah.
you just kind of throw anything at the wall and see what sticks and runs with it. First of all, I love your story, Dave. That's awesome. So I know Dave. Okay. We just met.
We did.
Dave is like my brother from another mother, just the better looking one. But
Don't let your mom
one of
hear
the things
that.
that I really love, the one ththing that I really love about Dave is his drive. And I think that, and so I guess my question to you, Dave, would be, because I'm stuttering like an idiot, all the training that you learned, the grit, bury your feet, carry the world on your shoulders, dig your feet in kind of stuff. You own a business here in McHenry County.
I do.
And it's probably one of the best painting companies I have ever seen. And I love him because I'm like, he's like, well, yeah, I charge a lot, but I'm awesome. And he is the best. If you want the best done, you got to go to Dave to get it done. How has that carried, that education, that suffering, that grit? How has that carried to now you being home and building this business?
Yeah, good question. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for the military and the butter bars and the major and the sergeants that all influenced my life. Running, so I never went to school, like college school. I tried it, but didn't make it a semester. Wasn't for me. But I was able to take a problem and fix it. And it wasn't by creating anything that didn't exist. It was providing a service,
yeah,
painting company where you do what you say you're going to do. And we do commercial and industrial jobs, so it's not just, we're not going in and just painting a bathroom and a bedroom. So you run into real problems, and you have to address them. You have to address them head on. And most people are GCs and or the customer are very respect the fact that you have eye-to-eye contact. You address the problem before it becomes a bigger problem. You don't try and sweep it under the rug. And if it's your problem, because it has been my problem,
yeah,
I fix it by any means on my end.
Yep.
But keeping a schedule, being on time, being where you're supposed to be, completing a job in a time frame. And there's a lot of companies, not just painting, anywhere, that they don't take pride and their word is not their bond. And you can't count on them. So I'm not doing anything.
Accountability, I think, is one of the number one things you have to kind of, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're going out there in the world of creating a business. Everybody and anybody can do this, right? Not my fault, right? But, if it is, taking that, being like, yep, that was my bad. Now, how do we fix it? That's I think, part of the training that you get, especially when lives are at stake. Right. You took that from what lives are at stake, and you built a life, and I'm so proud of you for you built a life with that when you came home. And then business is obviously booming for you, which is great. So you do industrial, give it a quick plug, man. What is it that you do? What's your business? How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah. So Prime Star Painting is the name of my company. 14 years in business, veteran-owned company. I do everything from the estimates to my color meetings to completing the work. So I am on the job. I'm a painter. I'm not trying to run a painting company from a sales point of view. I like to be on hands-on. We professionalize in commercial buildings, inside, out, high-end residential, cabinet refinishing, railings, ceiling walls, trim doors. You name it, we do it. I don't sub anything out. Everything is in-house, done by me and or my guys. I have an amazing crew of guys. I don't have a revolving door of guys. That's right. Which in my line of work is, it happens. And yeah, we charge a premium, but we're out of your house in 5 days professionally, instead of having someone come and go on their own time, and it takes 3 weeks. And that counts for something, because you're in people's home, you're around their kids, you're around their dog. Since COVID, it seems like everyone's working from home. So you have the customer, coming to the kitchen, and, it's just about, you remember it's their home.
That's right.
And honestly,
it's not just your place of work.
Yeah, right. It goes a long way. But I'd like to say something.
Yeah.
I didn't transition out of the military very well. This is, fast forward. This is, how God was able to provide for me and change my life. But my transition out was bad.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you, was like, how was that transition? And then how did you get to the point of starting your own business?
Well, I came home in 2002, and I was on a war path. It's almost like I kind of forgot my training, trying to build that circle that I had spent so much time in, and transition back in the civilian world. And drugs. Drugs was my escape. I was running from, myself, really. I didn't do well. A lot of time I was arrested a lot. I've been homeless, lost everything. And, I spent almost 3 decades in drugs. And it almost ruined my life.
So how did you get out of that?
So, I mean, there's a lot here. We don't have time for it, but most recently,
Summary.
I'm happy to say that I'm a year sober, December 27th
Wow,
of
congratulations.
2025.
Okay.
So the drugs that I came home and did for about 15 years was all the worst kind. But then, in my 30s, I found painkillers and antidepressants and Adderall, and that took a whole different turn for me. And I thought it was manageable because I was able to function. I was able to get out of work and run a job. I have a big family, so I just had baby number 8 on the day I'm 1 year sober. So that's not coincidence, right?
Proud of you.
That's a gift.
Yeah.
Drew knows a lot about
proud of you, brother.
my past. So just for sake of time, my wife is amazing, and she stuck with me through all that. But I just kind of came to the end of myself, and I'm a churchgoer. I go to church, and I've been in church for 15 years, but I never, I went for my wife, I went for my kids, and
Now you go for yourself.
I made it real for myself, and God literally reached out November of 2024, and he's like, you need to get clean. This is your last chance. It was weird. I mean, it was almost audible.
Wow.
Call me crazy because I am. All right. And I went to rehab. I went to detox, and I didn't do your traditional rehab facility. I rented a house on Airbnb in Tennessee, and I drove out there the day after Christmas of 2024. And I had a close friend of mine, lock up with me for 10 days, and I detoxed from.
Wow.
That's a very
Opiate.
good friend.
Wow.
The relationships.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
the
And that's
relationships
it.
that pulls
That's
through.
it. Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll stop there, but I mean,
No, that's good. And thank you for sharing that, because not everybody can do that.
No, that's
we try not to trigger here.
yeah.
So that's huge for people watching that
Yeah.
are going through a lot of similarity. There's a lot of people that are sitting at this table. You're not alone that have gone through that as well. And you're at where you're at today with a beautiful brand new baby, and a great, beautiful wife that is obviously your rock, right? So it's only greatness moving forward, bro. You got this. And I sometimes there was a couple times where I had to call him, like, I tried getting a hold of you. You didn't answer.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure you're good.
Wow.
Do I need to come now? What's happening? Tell me what's going on. Because I worry about. I see him at the gym. That's how I met him.
Wait,
we
you go
just
to the
become
gym?
friends. No, this is
It's all new.
Listen, when your middle name is Zeus, it's kind of a thing, I guess. I don't have that. They call me Cappuccino. And it shows. But we had a lot of fun together. Dad's a great dude, and looking forward to see where he goes next into the great future that he's creating for yourself. So
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you
Up
so
in that
much for
QR
sharing.
code in the corner there. Hey, listen, if you want to get a hold of Dave and get that military precision done in your house or at your business or facility or wherever it needs to be painted, that's how you do it, man. Listen, his mission critical process right now is for you not to paint. I hate painting. There is something that I actually use the word hate for. Painting is one of them. I would rather pay.
Do you ever watch it dry? I hear that's really fun.
Well, it's
I
kinda
have.
like water,
No, you-
it's kind of like water boiling, right? It's like, oh, jeez. I'm the one that spills it on the carpet. I'm the one that, I get to the point where people are like, stop painting. Just stop. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for doing that. So yeah, if you want that, he's phenomenal at what he does. Hit him up. I'm sure he'll give you a great quote and paint just about anything you need painted. Austin, same kind of question goes for you. Take it with stride, man. What is it that you do now? How did that carry over from the education that you've gotten in the military? And then maybe some of the challenges. How was your transition? Was it good? Is it bad? Do you not want to talk about it? It's okay.
Oh, yeah. All cards on the table, of course. So I'm still in, and what I'm doing now is politics, and I have done politics in one form or another for, let's say, a decade now. but I am a candidate for the McHenry County Board.
Nice.
And, in March, we have a primary. And then this year, now that's 2026, in November, I will be on the ballot for my position.
Nice.
But I see, all of this coming together because it's all about public service. How do you define it? How do you live it? How does it change you? How do you change it? And across the community, for each of us, we each have a different definition of what it means. As a painter and an entrepreneur, you are making our community better, prettier, stronger, happier. You've got people that are working for you. You're giving them, a good career, a good job, a good pay. All of this builds up to the kind of community that we could, if we're doing the thing right, have. And for me, military service is another kind of public service. So, yes, there's a harsh legal line between when I'm in uniform and when I'm at the pulpit or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's just about what do we want for our neighbors and how do we make it happen?
Nice.
Because, some of us are struggling.
Yep.
And that's why we need groups like Veterans Path to Hope and government agencies that are doing social work, and whether it's through the church or a neighbor, a loved one, like just helping.
Extending the brotherhood. I love that.
Yeah.
So listen, the power in the word help. And it's funny too, and I've said this on other shows, and Nico knows, I was at a place once where they told me to stop helping people and just bring in the numbers. And I was like, you got that mistaken. If I help 10, I get 20. Why would you not put a dollar sign at it? You do something great for somebody. Yes, you should be rewarded for it too. I don't care who you are. You still got to eat, but if you can go out and help people, Kent Jones and I, here we're owners of 21 Sixth Creator Studios. Our goal is to help as many as we can. I don't care if you're a veteran, a fireman, a police officer, just the average Joe on the street. You have a story. Tell your story. That's why we do this, for the exposure. And then how many other people out there, you're not alone. You can do it too. And who can help you? Build those relationships. Relationship building is 100% key in anything you really do. Mm-hmm. I'm an old school Italian. I got a guy is my thing.
You got a guy for everything.
You need a painter, I got a guy. I think, why would I go outside a vetted network of greatness that you build for yourself? And then why would you hold that so close to your vest? Share it. Mm-hmm. Share it with other people and then get more people to do the same. I absolutely love that. So what you did was you took the brotherhood and you're expanding it, and you're trying to teach that. That's fantastic.
I think there's so many, let's say, topics that are considered taboo or that we don't talk about. Mental health being a big one, suicide being a big one, faith, sex, religion, money, politics.
Yep.
We have to be talking about them on podcasts, in person, at the grocery store. Like, there's a difference between shouting opinions and sharing opinions.
Well,
but we need to be sharing.
I think in today's society, we forget, Austin, I think we forget, or a lot of people forget, or it hasn't been handed down, is because I disagree with you doesn't mean I hate you.
Right.
I think that's a thing today where it's like, I disagree with you and you should be dead.
Right.
You're off my list. But, that's not who you are as a person, your belief system, your core values. There's going to be connectivity somewhere. Mm-hmm. Not everybody is meant to connect, and that's okay too. But there's a spot for them somewhere else with somebody else. That's fine, right? The uplift of the positivity of it is, yes, these things should be talked about. Some of the biggest things I avoid is politics and religion in conversations, because all that does is bring anger. And in the conversations that, listen, I come from a large Italian family. Mm-hmm. We talk loud and angry when we're loving. And people on the outside are like, what's happening? Yeah. We're like, that's us loving each other.
That's how it looks.
Some people don't understand that. And in today's society, in the kids' world today, it's a different world, and kids are really focused, laser focused on politics these days. When I was a kid, I was like, I don't know. I just visit here. I don't You know what I mean? We're only here to visit. We've had this conversation today, right? I only visit on this blueberry. I mean, all these rules, regulations, and invisible borders. All my brothers and sisters are across the pond too. You know, it doesn't really matter. The only race that's really mattering to me and how I can help is the human race. You know, people, I used to wear a lot of skulls, rings, got tattoos, right? People are like, man, what's with all the skulls? I'm like, because underneath, we're all the same. It doesn't really matter. You're still my brother and sister. It doesn't matter, right? And how you reach out to that is amazing. And you're in a position, right? Because now you're going on the board where you're like, I want to share these core values. I want to be able to build off of that. So is there a strategy to that you're working on getting onto the board now, or
a strategy to getting on?
Well, I mean, so everything's a strategy, right?
Yeah.
So how does this work? So you're let me put it to you that way, because I'm ignorant to a lot of that style stuff. I don't deal with politics.
Absolutely. Yeah. We all have our, different spheres.
Yeah.
So the first thing I need to emphasize is that so much of what we define as politics is what's on the national headlines, what CNN and Fox and the Wall Street Journal are talking about. But what really impacts us day to day is what's happening at the local level, what your school board is doing, what your mayor is doing, what the county is doing.
It's important. They
have a much larger impact on your life and your families, your loved ones. So, I've worked at the presidential level, at the local level, and everywhere in between. And what I'm trying to do is, not to overuse a word, bring hope back into the dialogue. Politics has become cultural, it's become buzzwords, it's become partisan. It's like wearing a jersey on your back and, oh, you've got the wrong jersey on, therefore I hate you.
It's a TikTok short.
Everyone loves their family.
100%.
Everyone wants tomorrow to be brighter than today. It's not rocket science and it's consensus, but recognizing that and not making an ironic TikTok about it, not
correct
making fun of it or belittling it, but
berating it.
We can do better.
Always.
Together.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
That needs to be your running line.
That's your tag.
It is.
That's
but like a period after we're going like, we can do better.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Or just do better.
Do better.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, come on, do better.
Right.
Something.
Yeah. Right when you think you're at the top of the mountain, look up. There's more.
Yeah.
You can only keep climbing, man.
And you have a website with all of your information.
Yes. How do people get a hold of you? Do you want them to?
Of course. Yes. Good, bad, or otherwise. I am literally open ears. My phone, my email, they're all up there. So my website is abetterwaymc.com. Like a better way, McHenry. abetterwaymc.com.
And if you want to make it easier, just go ahead and hold up that pocket computer to that QR code up on that screen there.
And that way.
Take you right. It'll take you right. It'll take you right there. It's right above Dave's head. It'll take you right there.
Good on you.
I don't know. I just throw these things out there, but get a free ice cream every time you call them. I don't know. Maybe that works.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, why not?
Why not? Ice cream. Who doesn't like ice cream?
I mean, that's how like grade school elections were. It's like we're gonna do pizza day every day. Like, all right, I'm voting for that.
Blah, 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 politics, blah 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 blah. Ice cream. Oh,
what?
You got your phone on you tonight? That's awesome. You got anything else, Chris?
No, thank you guys so much for sharing. And thank you for the work that you're doing in the community and everywhere. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I know that was kind of challenging and you weren't quite expecting that, huh? We just never know what's going to come up.
I'm proud of you, bro. You
so
came
thank
out
you.
with it. That's
thank
awesome.
you so much for coming and sharing.
Yep.
Because I know that'll make a big difference in a veteran who's listening to it that needs to hear that. Yeah.
Well, the Veterans March is every year, and I just started doing that a few years ago. 22 veterans end their life every year.
Yeah.
The number fluctuates a little bit. I went down for a few years, but it's back up. It shouldn't happen. So mental health is huge for guys coming home.
Yeah.
And I'll leave that there. That's another good organization event for veterans.
I love it. Hey, listen, folks, don't be afraid to go to YouTube, 216 Creator Studios. Check out Roger That Chronicles. Check out some of our other episodes. This won't be the last time. I'm sure that we'll see you guys. And anybody that we've had at our family table is always welcome to come to the studio for any time, for anything. And stay tuned. Some of the veterans events that we're putting together, which is pretty good. I'm looking out into the next 2 years for the old Veterans Chili Cook-Off, which would be great. Live bands coming on stage. I mean, we're gonna knock it out of the park. Chris and I got some ideas on what we want to do here. And thank you to our sponsors for sponsoring this show. We couldn't do it without you. And so until next time, folks, keep on keeping on. You guys at the table, thank you so much for your time today, and keep on keeping on. Take care.
Thanks.
Cheers.